Hi guys, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make printable magnets specifically for your TBR cart, but you can use them for anything. Let's get started. So the magnet sheets that I'm using I got off of Amazon. And I'm going to show you how I cut them on my Cricut, but if you don't have a Cricut, don't worry because they do come with scissors so you can hand cut them, which actually it doesn't waste as much because of Cricut software. But anyways, let's get going. So on Canva, I just made some different designs that I thought would be fun. You can also use these for stickers. The thing I do recommend is for your shapes of objects to keep them kind of simple, especially if you're hand cutting out your designs. So like for this, I put slow burn in the flame. The teacup is kind of simple. You'll have to cut out like this little area, or you can keep it. I do recommend putting some kind of shape around details or using an offset. I just think it's easier that way. So I recommend saving with a transparent background if you have Canva Pro. If you don't, no worries. You are not going to be able to print white, and you'll be able to remove it if you are using a Cricut. So fear not. I just think the transparent background makes it a little bit easier, but if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. Once I got all of my graphics loaded into Design Space, I made sure that the size of them would fit on my TBR cart. I do have my TBR cart linked because also they're not going to work on a TBR cart if it's not magnetic. But as you can see, like the TBR cart, I have an offset on. The book lover, I have an offset on. This just makes it easier for your Cricut to cut. You can do really detailed things on your Cricut, but with a magnet, you're going to want to be careful. So based on the sizes, I've gotten them onto what will print properly. I grouped them together and I did flatten them. If you need more tutorials on, basic stuff like this on Design Space, let me know, but I just wanted to show you how easy these are to make. So from there, I have everything sized the way I want. I am going to go to Make, and you can see how they fit on here. I was pushing it with how it fits. Next, we are going to go to Send to Printer. So when you are placing this, you're gonna want right sides up. I've also linked my printer below. I have one of the basic Epson's Eco Tanks, the 2803. It's a very affordable of the Epson Eco Tanks, but I am printing that with the face side up and it'll come out in the front. So when I print, especially with this type of project, since it's a specialty paper, I make sure I always add a bleed, and then I am going to use System Dialog. This, I didn't realize, if you have a full screen for your Design Space, you will need to minimize it, but this will let you customize your settings a little bit more. And you see, it'll keep spinning and you'll have to actually minimize. So once this pop-up comes up, I am going to make sure I have my correct printer. And for media type, I am going to do photo matte paper, and for quality, I'm going to do best. And then I am going to print. And this is the part you're just going to want to watch so that your paper doesn't get jammed. So far, I've had good luck, but there's always that chance. I would say just keep an eye on it. So when using your Cricut, I recommend using the strong grip mat. If you don't have a strong grip mat, you can still use a standard mat, but be sure to definitely tape it down. I still tape it down with the strong grip mat, but if you're going to use a standard mat, definitely. So here are our magnets. They look great. You can see that they got pretty close to each other because there is a bleed. I did add bleed. I think that's very useful when you're printing. Also, I want to say if you want your magnets to last longer, you can do a laminate over top of them. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to print these. These are for myself. If you guys want me to sell stuff like this in my Etsy shop, please let me know. But otherwise, if you don't have a Cricut, you just take the scissors they provide and cut these out, which is super awesome. Obviously, if you're just cutting by hand, you could just print it from Canva or Word or whatever you use for printing, and you would just cut it out. It's as easy as that. But I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna mount it for the Cricut. So I'm gonna make sure I line it up as best as I can. It can be off a little bit. I do recommend calibrating your Cricut before you do anything like this, just because the magnetic sheets are a little bit more expensive. And then I like to go through and just tape around all the edges. You just don't want to cover up these registration marks. So once we are back to our sheet, you can see that we mounted this just like it recommends on our Cricut mat. So we're gonna go done. I need to go turn my machine on. Okay, here is my maker. And actually it's been a hot minute since I've been on here, so we are going to calibrate my machine, but I'm not going to film that. But like I said, if Cricut is recommending a calibration, definitely do it. Definitely calibrate your machine before you do print and cuts. Once you have your Cricut all calibrated, then we are going to go to magnetic, and they actually have printable magnetic sheets now as a setting, which I just think is so cool. Now, if you did laminate it, it might take a little bit more pressure. Okay, let's go load our mat. So some things that might happen is the rollers might leave a mark on your magnet. So I do like to move them out of the way, just so you're not gonna get those little dots on your project. So once they're scooted out of the way, we are going to take our sheet, and in the top left corner, make sure everything's lined up, and because our arrow is blinking, we can load it. Now that we have everything cut out, you can peel it off your sheet. I like to remove the tape first and then peel it the rest off. Okay, once I have the tape removed, I'm gonna flip it over. I just find it easier to do it that way. And I'm gonna just slowly peel off. So the strong mat does stick it on pretty good, so you would probably be okay using a standard mat if it was pretty sticky. So to get the magnets off, if you're worried about them ripping, if they're a detailed design, I would recommend using a spatula, but I'm just gonna be really careful here and peel it off. Look at how cute that is. So I'm finding that my nail is easier to get it started without damaging it. And then the tool is really helpful for getting under it. Oh my gosh, that cut out so good. And really, it's as easy as that. I love the magnets because you can switch them out. They're not permanent like stickers are. You can change them as you change mood reads, as the seasons change, you know, really whatever you want. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe if you liked this video. And if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. So if you could leave a little magnet emoji in the comments, or a cart. Do they have a cart? I know they don't have a TBR cart, but do they have like a shopping cart? Or a book emoji, if that's easier. It really means so much to me and my channel when you watch all the way through. I appreciate it so much. Please let me know if you make any printable magnets for yourself. And if you do, please tag me on all social media at A Spark of Sam. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I hope to see you next time. Bye!